Parking a motorcycle seems simple. Kickstand down, walk away. But the truth is, most riders don't think about the physics, the surfaces, or the little details that keep their bike safe while it's standing still. And when you get it wrong, you don't just risk a tip over. You risk your pride, your paint, and sometimes your wallet. The worst part is, most parking mistakes don't show their teeth until hours later, when you come back to find your bike laying on its side like it's given up on life. If you've ever thought, it's fine, I'll only be gone a minute, you're exactly the kind of rider who learns these lessons the hard way. Let's go over the bad habits that turn parking into a gamble, so your bike stays exactly where you left it. Number 1. Parking on a steep downhill in first gear. A lot of riders get taught early on that you should always park your bike in first gear. And while that's true most of the time, there's a big exception: steep downhills. On a flat surface or on an uphill, first gear acts like a lock, keeping the bike from rolling away. But point your bike downhill, and suddenly that lock is just your transmission holding back the full weight of your bike, fighting against gravity. Every bump, vibration, or gust of wind is trying to rotate that rear wheel and push the bike forward. If the clutch cable stretches a bit, if the chain has slack, or if the engine compression isn't enough to hold, your bike moves. And when it moves, the first thing to fold is the kickstand. At that point, you're not parked anymore. You're watching your bike slowly tip over, or worse, roll straight into traffic, another vehicle, or a wall. And good luck explaining to your insurance company that, it just decided to roll away by itself. The smarter approach is to always park facing uphill whenever possible, even if it means turning around or walking the bike a little farther. If you absolutely have to park facing downhill, turn your handlebars toward the curb so the front tire becomes a physical stopper. Some riders even carry a small wheel chock or wedge. Throw it behind the rear tire, and you've just removed the risk completely. It's a little extra effort that can save you from the kind of expensive oops you only make once. Number 2. Leaving the bike in neutral on a slope. This one is a classic rookie mistake, and sometimes even experienced riders get caught by it when they're distracted. You pull up to park on an incline, drop the kickstand, leave the bike in neutral, and walk away thinking all is fine. But bikes aren't magical objects that stay put on their own. If you give gravity even the slightest chance, it'll take that opportunity like it's been waiting all year. All it takes is one small nudge. Someone brushing up against your handlebar, a gust of wind, or even the suspension settling, and the bike starts rolling. Once it moves, the kickstand folds up instantly, and now you're watching your pride and joy wobble, pick up speed, and meet its doom at the bottom of the slope. And believe me, the sound of your bike falling and sliding is one of those noises that'll stay burned in your memory forever. The fix is simple and non-negotiable. If there's even the tiniest slope, leave the bike in gear. First gear is usually the best choice because it gives maximum engine resistance against movement. Combine that with turning your handlebars so the front wheel's locked against the curb or the ground slope, and you've basically made it thief-proof against gravity. Sure, it might take an extra second to click it into gear before you walk away, but compare that to the hours of swearing, calling a tow truck, and explaining to your buddies why your bike now has custom downhill racing damage. Number 3. Resting the kickstand on hot asphalt. This is one of those mistakes you usually make only once, because after that, you learn the hard way. On a blazing summer day, asphalt turns into a slow-moving trap. It might look solid, but under the sun, it softens just enough for your kickstand to start sinking. The problem is, it doesn't happen instantly. You walk away from your bike, head into a store, and everything seems fine. Until you come back and find your ride laying on its side like it passed out from heat stroke. The sinking starts slowly, millimeter by millimeter, as the narrow foot of the stand pushes into the asphalt. By the time it sinks deep enough to change your lean angle, it's already too late. The center of gravity shifts, and the bike tips over with nothing to stop it. If you've got saddlebags, crash bars, or delicate paintwork, you're in for an ugly and expensive surprise. The solution is ridiculously simple and costs almost nothing. A kickstand pad, a puck, or even a flat piece of wood or metal you keep in your pocket. Anything that spreads out the weight over a bigger surface will stop the sinking before it starts. If you don't have one handy, improvise. A flattened soda can works in a pinch. Bottom line, hot asphalt is sneaky. It won't knock your bike over in seconds, it'll lull you into thinking everything's fine, right up until you're paying for a new clutch lever and a fresh paint job. Number 4. Parking with the front wheel facing uphill on a slope. On paper, it doesn't sound like a big deal. You pull up on a slope, turn the bars uphill, drop the stand, and walk away. But the problem only hits you when it's time to leave. And suddenly, you're in a wrestling match with a 500-pound piece of metal that does not want to move. When your front wheel is pointed uphill, gravity is working against you the second you try to back the bike out. Even in neutral, you'll have to push hard just to get it rolling. And if the slope is steep enough, it can feel like trying to shove a refrigerator up a ramp. Add in a fully loaded touring bike or a passenger waiting to hop on, and you're looking at a serious workout before you even start the engine. It's even worse if your parking spot is tight. Now, you're not just fighting gravity, you're fighting gravity while making awkward turns, dodging cars, and trying not to drop the bike in slow motion. One wrong move and you're either stuck or tipping over. The smarter play is to park with the front wheel pointing downhill whenever possible. That way, when you're ready to leave, all you need to do is release the brakes and let gravity give you a push. If you absolutely have to park facing uphill, back the bike in so you can roll forward on the way out. Your back and your pride will thank you. Number 5, leaning too far into a slope. Parking on a slope is tricky enough, but putting your kickstand on the low side and letting the bike lean way over, that's practically begging for trouble. Sure, it might seem stable when you first step away, but that extreme lean puts a ton of stress on the stand, the mounting bolts, and even the frame over time. Not to mention, it changes the bike's center of gravity in a way that makes it much easier to tip. Here's the thing, kickstands are designed to work at a certain lean angle. Too little lean and the bike's unstable. Too much lean and all the weight is concentrated on one point, which can bend or fatigue the stand. And if you're on a heavy cruiser or adventure bike, we're talking hundreds of pounds of force resting on a thin metal leg all day. The danger isn't just mechanical. Wind, passing cars, or even a curious kid leaning on your bike can push it just a little too far, and once it's past the point of balance, gravity takes over. And trust me, picking up a bike that's fallen downhill is about as fun as getting punched in the wallet. The easy fix? Always try to park with the stand on the high side of the slope, or at least find a spot that levels the bike out. If you have no choice but to lean it into the slope, turn the handlebars fully toward the stand to add a little stability. It's a simple adjustment that can save you from an expensive and embarrassing mess. Number 6. Parking against the wind. It doesn't matter how solid your kickstand feels. Park your bike facing into a strong wind and you've basically turned it into a sail. All it takes is one strong gust from the wrong angle and your pride and joy is laying on its side like it just fainted from heat stroke. Even a small breeze can become a big problem if it keeps rocking the bike back and forth for hours. The danger is worst when the wind hits the bike broadside, catching the fairings, mirrors, or even your handlebars, and nudging the lean angle just enough to make the bike unstable. If it's already leaned a little too far or the ground is uneven, the wind can finish the job. I've seen bikes tip over in parking lots on what riders thought were breezy days, only for them to come back and find a cracked mirror, a bent lever, or worse. The smart move, always park so the bike's nose is pointed into the wind, or at least so the wind hits the rear first. This way air flows over and around the bike instead of pushing against its widest surface. On particularly windy days, you might even want to choose a sheltered spot behind a wall, hedge, or a building just to cut down on direct gusts. It sounds like overkill, but preventing a wind-assisted tip over is a whole lot easier and cheaper than replacing bodywork or explaining to your insurance company how nature took out your motorcycle. Number 7. leaving the steering unlocked. If you think locking your handlebars is just an optional extra, you're exactly the kind of rider thieves love. Leaving the steering unlocked is basically saying, "Here you go, boys, roll her wherever you like." It takes a thief seconds to push an unlocked bike into a van or down the street to a quieter spot where they can work on the ignition. Some riders skip locking the steering because they figure the steering lock isn't bulletproof anyway. And they're right, it's not. A determined thief with tools can break it. But here's the thing. Motorcycle theft is often about opportunity, not a Hollywood-level heist. Thieves tend to grab the easiest target, and an unlocked steering column is a huge green light. Even if it doesn't stop them completely, it slows them down and makes them look suspicious. Two things they really hate. It's not just about theft prevention either. In busy parking lots or bike meetups, leaving the bars free means someone could bump into your bike and roll it a few feet without realizing how much weight they're moving. If it's on a slope or uneven ground, that little push could be all it takes for your bike to take a nap on the pavement. Bottom line, always lock your steering when you park, even for a quick stop. It's not an inconvenience, it's cheap insurance. The 30 seconds it takes could be the difference between walking back to your bike or walking home without it. Number 8. Parking too close to another bike or car. Motorcycles may be compact, but that doesn't mean you should wedge yours into any gap you find. Parking too close to another bike or a car is like inviting trouble to come knock. All it takes is one careless swing of a car door, one passenger trying to squeeze past, or another rider trying to shimmy their bike out, and suddenly your paint job or fairings take the hit. The risk is even worse with other bikes. Riders often have to lean their bike slightly to maneuver them out of a tight space, and if your handlebar is practically kissing their mirror, you're just begging for an accidental bump or a full-blown tip-over domino effect. And trust me, no one wants to be that guy at a bike meet who sets off a chain reaction of fallen motorcycles. Even if nothing gets scratched, you're also risking your own frustration. If you park too close, someone might move your bike just to get theirs out, and they won't care about being gentle. Or worse, they might scrape your tank with a jacket zipper or step on your foot peg while swinging a leg over. The fix is simple. Leave breathing room. If you can't walk between your bike and the next vehicle without turning sideways, you're too close. You'll avoid unnecessary damage, keep the peace with fellow riders, and make sure you're not the one everyone curses under their breath when it's time to leave. Number 9. Ignoring soft ground. Grass, dirt, gravel. It might look solid enough when you pull in, but give it a few minutes, and your kickstand will start sinking like it's on a slow elevator to disaster. This is especially true after rain, when the surface is softer than it looks. Even seemingly firm ground can betray you if the top layer is just a crust over loose soil. What makes this extra sneaky is that it rarely happens instantly. You'll walk away thinking your bike's fine, only to come back later and find it leaning at a please don't fall angle, or already laying on its side like a sad metal cow. On gravel, the issue is different. The stand can shift or slide as the bike's weight shifts, especially if you or someone else brushes past it. And it's not just cosmetic damage either. A tip over on uneven terrain can break mirrors, bend levers, or even crack a fairing. And if the fall's bad enough, it can tweak the handlebars or dent the tank. The smart move is to always check the ground before committing. If it's soft or loose, use a kickstand pad, a flat rock, or even the lid from your coffee cup in a pinch to spread out the weight. And if you're at a bike rally or an outdoor event, assume the grass is a trap. Hundreds of bikes have already compacted it, making it unstable. A few seconds of prep now can save you a whole lot of cursing later. Number 10. Blocking someone's path or doorway. This one isn't just bad manners, it's a fast way to make enemies. Parking your bike where people need to walk, load goods, or get in and out of a building is asking for trouble. It's the motorcycle equivalent to leaving your shopping cart in the middle of the aisle. You're not just in the way, you're actively inconveniencing everyone around you. The problem is that when someone sees your bike as the obstacle between them and what they need to do, they stop thinking of it as your prized possession and start thinking of it as that thing in my way. And when people stop caring, they stop being careful. Doors get swung into tanks, boxes get dragged across streets, and in some cases, your bike gets helpfully moved. This is especially risky around delivery zones, store entrances, garage doors, and narrow sidewalks. Even if your bike fits, you're creating a pinch point. And one wrong move from a distracted pedestrian or an annoyed driver could mean scratches, dents, or a knocked-over bike. And good luck explaining to the police or insurance that it wasn't your fault when it's clear you were parked somewhere you shouldn't be. The fix is simple. Park like you expect the world to keep moving around you. Leave enough room for people and cars to pass comfortably, and avoid blocking anything that looks like it needs regular access. It's not just respectful, it's self-preservation. Number 11. Parking with the wheel turned away from the stand. When you park your bike, the direction your front wheel points isn't just a matter of habit. It's a major factor in whether the bike stays put. If your wheel is turned away from the kickstand, you're basically inviting the bike to roll forward. That little shift in movement is all it takes for the stand to fold up and your bike to slam into the pavement. Think of it like leaning on a ladder the wrong way. Gravity starts to pull and there's nothing stopping it. When your wheel is turned toward the stand, it creates a locked-in, stable position. The bike's weight pushes into the stand, not away from it. Turn it the other way, and you're relying entirely on friction and luck to keep it from moving. It's even worse on a slope. If you're parked on a slight incline and your wheel is facing away, one tiny roll forward is enough to take the stand out from under the bike. The heavier the bike, the faster it goes down, and the more expensive the repair bill comes. This mistake also makes the bike more vulnerable to wind or bumps from passers-by. Any nudge in the wrong direction and the whole thing tips. It takes 2 seconds to get it right, and yet so many riders forget until they're staring at a broken mirror and a dented tank. Bottom line, turn your wheel toward the stand every single time. It's free, it's easy, and it keeps your bike upright where it belongs. The truth is, most of these mistakes take no extra effort to avoid. It's about awareness. Thinking about the slope, the surface, the wind, and the little mechanical details like which way your wheels turn. A minute of care now saves hours of repairs later, and saves you from being that rider everyone sees picking up their bike in shame. So next time you pull in somewhere, take a breath, scan your surroundings, and park like someone who knows what they're doing. Your bike will thank you, your wallet will thank you, and you won't have to explain to strangers why your perfectly fine motorcycle is lying on its side in a parking lot.